Hello everyone and welcome in on this Wednesday edition of the Butt Fumble Sports Show here on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Kick, Instagram Live, all of our platforms. We are live right now, a special early show on this hump day, this Wednesday, as we've got some day baseball, reworked the schedule, so I pushed some work towards later in the afternoon, so getting in our show a little bit earlier today to make sure all of you baseball nuts out there have everything you need for some afternoon baseball. Excited to be with you, so excited to have you, no matter where you're watching, no matter the platform you're watching on. Butt Fumble Sports is a sports content company created by a sports fan. For you real sports fans at home, we rant about the sports world. We give research around your sports bets every day, answering your questions, trying to go through the data to find the best bets across the sports world, and hopefully giving you guys a good amount of entertainment on, of course, a lot of the topics that we're going to cover. If you guys want to talk any fantasy sports, we are now under 100 days to the NFL kickoff. 99 days from today, we kick off the NFL season. If you guys are as pumped as I am, feel free to throw in some questions. Feel free to ask. I'm all about it. So excited to have you guys with us. Make sure if you are new to Butt Fumble Sports that you hit that follow button, you hit the subscribe button, that you're a member of this growing community of sports fans that comes together almost every single day to talk sports, sports betting, and fantasy sports. Make sure you guys are hitting that follow button and subscribe button. We don't ask for your money. If you guys want to contribute to the channels, that's up to you. We will never, ever, ever charge you for one of our picks. We love doing research, but we would love to have you as a follower and a member of this great community of butt fumblers. That said, we got a lot of things right yesterday in baseball. NBA, the Kyrie Irving streak of wins with a closeout situation on the line ended, so we missed on that. But baseball was really strong. That's what we're going to focus on today. NHL, there is one game. No NBA. It's been a long time since we've gone a day without the NBA. But we're going to make the best of this concoction of MLB and NHL picks that we have ahead. Again, if you guys do want to keep track of my record, Steve, you can. All of my picks are on the SHARPZ app. They're all available for free. SHARPZ is like a bulletin board for sports bettors. Every bet that I make, regardless of the sport, the sports book, the odds, whatever it is, automatically shows up there. That's how you can see my picks for free every day. DM me on Instagram if you do want to see all of those picks. If I combine individual picks with parlays and round robins, we're hitting it around a 55-54% clip. If I separate out the parlays and round robins and I just include individual bets, we hit around a 67% clip. So that's our statistics right there. If you guys are watching over on YouTube, feel free to ask questions just like JP. JP has the honor of our first question of the day, and it does pertain to the first game we're going to focus on. Pirates, Tigers. This game was rained out yesterday, getting a 12:40 start today. Early in Central Time. So that is one of the reasons that we're jumping on live so early today. I do have a pick for this one, and I'm going to be bold about it. I'm going to say Pirates and Tigers, no run in the first inning. We have Jared Jones on the mound for the first game. This is for game one. Paul Skeens is supposed to be on the mound for game two. We could easily see back-to-back games with no run in the first inning, but I'm not quite sure of the matchup for game two, so I'm not going to put that on the big board. But no run in the first inning for game one. Game one is Jared Jones versus Tariq Skubal. That is going to be a great pitching matchup. We're going to dive into that game right now. We'll get to all the other baseball games in a bit, but we're going to focus on Pirates-Tigers first, since it's the first game of the day. That's a no run in the first inning for that game. That's where we're starting. We do have some other no run in the first inning plays that I'm going to get to a little bit later in the show. We have a couple others. I actually will put up one more since we're talking about it. Marlins and Padres, no run in the first inning for Marlins and Padres. That's another one that I like. No run in the first inning for Pirates and Tigers. Game one, no run in the first inning for Marlins and Padres. I would also keep my eye on Royals and Twins. I'd keep my eye on Cubs and Brewers. Those are two more games where you may want to consider no run in the first inning on those two other games. I'm not going to put those up on the big board, But Cubs Brewers as well as Royals Twins, you might want to consider no run in the first inning on those. Let's get back to that Pirates and Tigers game. The market for that one heavily favoring the Tigers. 80% of the tickets are on the Tigers to win. 82% of the money is on the Tigers to win. They have the better starting pitcher on the mound. Bizarrely, as I'm seeing it, oh, this is the 4:10 game. Forgive me. They're showing the 4:10 game. Maybe it's showing it from... Why are they showing that? It should be a 12:40. So the 12:40... Weird. Outlier showing things in different places, so I'm not going to rely on Outlier as much for this stuff, at least for the moment. Really quick, let's jump over to killersports.com. Justin81, love it, buddy. Yeah, juice like Hulk Hogan. You know it, brother. That said, let's take a look at the Pirates. Pirates, when they're coming off 1 day of rest and they're playing on the road, that's the scenario that they have today. Pirates on 1 day of rest on the road, 0-2 straight up. The under is 2-0 as well. On the run line, 0-2. The website we're using to do this bit of research is called killersports.com. KILLER sports.com. If any of you guys want to do research along with us, go check it out, killersports.com. It's free. You guys can check it out as well. That said, if you want to watch me do this research live on my screen, think of it as the chef serving up the dish right in front of you, the Benihana of sports betting, as I like to call it. You can jump on over to YouTube. Everyone who's watching on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick can see my computer screen and see all the research we're going to do live. Let's see how the Tigers have done under this scenario on 1 day of rest. It's a home game. They're 0-3 straight up, 0-3 on the run line, and 0-2-1 favoring the under. Under's got a good play. Now, this isn't showing today's game. It should. They had yesterday off because of the rain. So the under certainly has my attention for that first game. Pirates, Tigers, but we're going to dive into that one a little bit more. Let's focus on the starting pitchers for this one. Tariq Skubal on the mound for the Tigers. So far this season, he's made 10 starts. The Tigers are 7-3 in his starts. Interestingly enough, the over's actually been better when Skubal is on the mound. Over's been 8-2. Kind of interesting there. Throws a wrench into our underplay, or what we thought was a good underplay a moment ago. How has he pitched so far at home this year? Of the 3 losses the Tigers have in his start, only one of them has come at home. He's 4-1 straight up at home, 3-2 on the run line. The over is 4-1. The teams that he has faced at home have been the Athletics, Twins, Rangers, Royals, and Astros. So actually some decent lineups. You got to think Royals and Astros, Rangers. Those are some decent lineups there. Opponents are averaging about 2.8 runs per game against him. Really interesting to note. Opponents struggling there. If you like the under, might be something to consider that he's held opponents to under 3 runs in home games so far this year. Flipping it around, Jared Jones, starting pitcher for the Pirates. He's 4-6 straight up in his starts this year, 3-7 on the run line. The under's been a better play at 6-4, but the over is hit in 3 straight games. That's regardless of location, specifically on the road so far this year. Jared Jones, when he's on the mound, Pirates are 2-3 straight up, 2-3 on the run line. The under slightly better at 3-2. Really interesting, actually. Jared Jones, in the 5 starts that he's made on the road, he will face a lefty for the fifth time. This will be his 6th start this year on the road. This is his 5th start against a left-handed starting pitcher. He has consistently faced left-handed starting pitchers in terms of opposing starting pitchers. Really quick, how have the Pirates done when they face a left-handed starter so far this season? Pirates against a left-handed starter, 11-10 straight up, 10-11 on the run line. Over slightly better at 13-8. The over has actually been a very good trend since about mid-May. In the last 2, 4, 6, 8, in the last 9 games that the Tigers have played against a left-handed starting pitcher, the over has hit 8 out of those 9 games. How about on the road against a left-handed starter on the road? Pirates are 7-6 straight up, 8-5 on the run line, 7-6 favoring the over. Under has actually been much better in terms of the streak. That over streak really pertains to at home for the Pirates. Pirates have also really struggled against left-handed pitching on the road since really about April 11th. Since April 11th, they have just 2 wins in 4, 6, 8 starts. So I actually do like the Tigers on the money line. I'm going to put that one up on the board for you guys. I'm going to take Tigers on the money line. Tigers on the money line is making the pick for me right now. I like the starting pitching matchup. I like the fact that the Pirates have struggled of late over the last 2-3 weeks against left-handed starting pitchers on the road specifically. So I do like that. I'll take the Tigers on the money line. One other note for you, I'm still considering this under. Right now, it's set at 7.5. I'd consider the under again. For whatever reason, Outliers are a little screwy with the doubleheader, so not getting as much data from that. But I would consider that. Someone's asking about the starting pitching matchup for this game. Outs recorded. Definitely not a bet that I normally make. You guys may be into it. In terms of implied probability, Skubal does have a good implied probability to go over 17.5 outs. He's hit that in 8 of his last 10 games overall, specifically at home. He's hit it in 4 of his last 5 games. Again, not something I bet Vana, but actually, based on the trends, very good play. Again, not something I'm necessarily going to touch, but certainly something that you could check out. One thing I do want to check out is how these two teams and pitchers have performed during day games. Under's been better in day games when Jared Jones is on the mound. When Skubal pitches in a day game, 1-5 on the run line. 1-5. The Tigers are 3-3 straight up when Skubal pitches during a day game, but they are 1-5 on the run line. I would just say, if you wanted right now to take the Pirates at like a +2, what are the Pirates right now at +2? Again, little screwy because of how Outliers got some issues. Pirates +2 for this game, not worth it, but maybe you want to take it. I could see it being a 4-3 game. I could see it being a 3-2 game, just very, very tight. Let's take a look at how these two teams have performed in day games. Pirates in day games so far this season, 14-15, 15-14 on the run line, over slightly better. How about day games on the road? Pirates, day games on the road, 8-6 straight up, 10-4 on the run line, 9-5 favoring the over. Again, they failed to win consistently over the last few weeks, but they've been pretty good at covering the run line as an underdog. As an away dog in day games, 6-2. Just saying, kind of interesting. You might want to keep your eyes on the Pirates to cover. How about the Tigers as a home favorite in day games? Pirates just overall in day games, regardless of location or whether they're a favorite or a dog. 13-7 straight up, 10-20 on the run line. Again, Pirates on the run line looks like a better play the more we look at it. If we look at how the Tigers have done in day games at home, 7-10 straight up, 4-13 on the run line. Tigers as a home favorite in day games are 1-10. Tigers in day games as a home favorite are 1-10. This is the way we're going to bet this game, everybody. We're going to take, first of all, Pirates and Tigers, no run in the first inning. Pirates and Tigers, I'll say no run in the first inning. I got Tigers on the money line. I'm taking Pirates +1.5. I've been convinced Tigers day games at home is a favorite. Not good at covering a run line, especially again as a favorite. I'll take Tigers on the money line. I'll take the Pirates +1.5. That's how we come down on the first game of the day. Really quick, let's take a look at some player prop bets that I like for this game when it comes to over half a hit. We've been doing this pretty consistently. First one that I like for this one is Ke'Bryan Hayes. He's 2 for 5 lifetime against Skubal. Against left-handed pitching this year, hitting .297. Decent sample size, good average, hitting around 300. I mentioned Connor Joe as well yesterday. Ke'Bryan Hayes, over half a hit. Against left-handed pitching, he only has a hit in 5 of his last 10 games overall, but on the road, 7 of his last 10. If I expand it over the last 20 games against left-handed pitching, 13 of his last 20 games against left-handed pitching, he has a hit. So Ke'Bryan Hayes, over half a hit, also makes the big board. Ke'Bryan Hayes, over half a hit. Connor Joe is another one I have my eye on. I liked him yesterday in this matchup. I like him as well today. Not as much as Cabrian Hayes, I don't think. Connor Joe's just 1 for 3 against this starting pitcher, but against left-handed pitching, hitting .294 on the season. So if you wanted to take Hayes and Connor Joe in a 2-leg parlay, same game parlay, I did that. I put a small amount on it, but 2 hitters to get a hit, just something to consider. On the other side, the matchup for the Tigers, they've never faced Jared Jones. No hitters in their lineup have, but one hitter who's done very well against right-handed pitching so far this year. Oh, he's not in the lineup from what I'm seeing. Gia Urshela is hitting very well against right-handed pitching, hitting .328. This lineup, is it set yet? Interesting. The player I was going with isn't in the lineup, I guess. Hold on 1 second. So we like Connor Joe and we like Cabrian Hayes. Both of them we like to get a hit. Yeah. No one really on the Gio Urshela would be the only one that we like from the Tiger side of things. Gio Urshela. Is he available for over half a hit? I'm not even seeing him. I'm not even seeing Gio. So if you find Gio Urshela, you might want to check it out. Hope you're having a great day. Beautiful stroke. What's good, Josh? Brian Reynolds over half a hit. That's not who I mentioned. So Brian Reynolds over half a hit. He's hitting just 167 in 6 at-bats, so 1 for 6 in 6 at-bats against Tariq Skubal. Against left-handed pitching this year, he is hitting .306. So, Josh, I understand it. I'm just not going to back it and put it on the board. If you take it, I get it. Just not what I'm going to go with. If you guys are interested in any picks, we just wanted to cover that first game of the day. That's the only game that's starting before 1 o'clock. So I wanted to make sure we get that out of the way. Again, a quick recap of the picks we put on the board so far, and then we'll get to your questions regardless of location or platform. Pirates, Tigers, I like no run in the first inning. I like the Tigers on the money line. I like the Pirates plus 1.5. I also like Marlins and Padres, no run in the first inning. Again, that's game 1. Tigers, I got to put game 1 for all of these. We're just talking game 1 for those Tigers and Pirates. By the way, I usually don't bet back-to-back games of a doubleheader at the beginning of the day. I did like yesterday with the Dodgers because you just feel like the Dodgers, they were in a slump. You expected them to maybe sweep the Mets, which they did. But that said, I tend to wait because you don't know necessarily who's going to be available in the bullpen. You don't know who's going to be available in the starting lineup. So what I would say is I like the Tigers to win in game 1. I like the Pirates to cover plus 1.5 in game 1. I like no run in the first inning in game 1. And I like Cabrian Hayes over half a hit in game 1. You could also talk me into Connor Joe. But other than that, not going to cover game 2 for Tigers and Pirates. Just going to avoid it at least for now. Getting to some of your questions. Appreciate you guys being with us. Big shout out to those watching over on Twitch like Evelyn. Evelyn, how are you? Hope you're having a great day. Ricky, what's up? Watching over on YouTube. Hope you're having a great day. If you are watching on Instagram, TikTok, and you want to see the screen that I'm doing my research on, you can follow along with us. Jump on over to YouTube. You can watch the entire show and everything we're doing there. Daniel is asking about Skubal, 6.5 strikeouts. Let's go take a look at Tariq Skubal on strikeouts for today's game. We already covered outs. Let's focus specifically on strikeouts. He's right now set at 6.5 for strikeouts. The over does have a very strong implied probability, at least on Outlier. Hasn't been the best of trends. 4 of the last 10 games at home. Only 1 of the last 4. Not as good as we would have liked. I did actually earlier today do a bit of research, and I went to, oh my God, I went to Fangraphs, thank you. I went to Fangraphs, and I actually did some research around this because I thought this was a good way of kind of extending our research a little bit and really diving into some things. So I want to go to, I'll just type it in. Let's go back. So it's teams versus, let's say, left-handed starters. I don't want the .com. And let's get to Fangraphs. So split, we're going to go by team. So this is just another layer of research we're going to be doing. How have teams done under certain circumstances? The Pirates are facing a left-handed pitcher on the road today. How have they done when it comes to strikeouts? This is just another way we can focus on it. Pirates are the second most, so far this season, against a left-handed pitcher on the road, the Pirates have the second most strikeouts in Major League Baseball. The only team that has more is the Phillies. Interestingly enough, the Phillies face a left-handed starter later today in the Giants game. We'll talk about that later. But the Pirates against left-handed starters have 100 strikeouts so far this year, second most. Their batting average is .230 against left-handed starters. That is that's 18th so far this year. But we're caring most about strikeouts. You're focused on strikeouts. So what I would say is I like the over 6.5 just a little bit more because the matchup. Now it opened at 7 and it came down to 6.5. Makes me a little bit nervous. I really wish I could take this at 6 or 5.5. I can't. Not available. So 6.5 is going to be where it's at. Overall, I think I do like this, but it's a really tight one. I don't like it as much. I'm not going to put it up on my board, but what I would say is based on the Pirates, how they performed as hitters against left-handed pitching on the road, I'll take over the 6.5 strikeouts. Again, doesn't make the big board though. Appreciate you guys being with us. Ricky, check out much for the Pirates strike. We just did, Rick. You knew where I was going with it. Appreciate you guys watching the show. Anything on the Cubs game? Let's jump on over to the Cubs game. We haven't looked at that one just yet. Cubs game. We'll get to as many games as you guys want to focus on over the next hour or so. Again, we're doing an early show today with some day baseball. Right now, the Cubs are favored in the marketplace. 67% of the tickets are on Chicago to win. 89% of the money is on Chicago to win. By the way, that also is the case for the run line. 84% of the tickets are on the Cubs to win. 90% of the money is on the Cubs to cover, -1.5. So the market really likes the Cubs, and for a good reason. It's a Shota Imanaga day. We'll talk about him in just a moment. Cubs, though, so far this year, coming off a win. Last game of a series. I believe this is the last game of a series. They've split the first two. Is it a 4-game series or not? I'll have to find out just now. Yeah, it is a 4-game series. Okay, so we'll say series game number 3. They're coming off a win in the previous game. Cubs are 4-2 in that scenario. 3-3 on the run line. Under slightly better at 4-2. The under's actually hit in 4 straight games. We talked about Shota Imanaga. He has been an absolute ace for the Chicago Cubs so far this season. During his starts, the Cubs are 8-1. Cubs are 8-1 when he starts. The only loss that they have so far this year was a 2-0 loss to the Braves in Atlanta. That's how good he's been. One of the reasons that Cubs money line is getting so much love from not just the public, but the smart bettors. Run line, he's 5-4. Cubs are 5-4 in his starts, but the under continues to be a good trend for this one. Under is 6-2-1 when Shota Imanaga is on the mound. According to ballparkpal.com, which is a website that runs thousands of simulations about each baseball game every day, they do favor the Cubs. They do favor the under at under 8.5. So keep your eye on that. Right now, the run total for that is set at 7.5. You might want to move that just a little bit. But Shota Imanaga, in his 9 starts this year, opponents, not just when Shota is pitching, but when he starts those games, opponents are averaging less than 1.2 runs per game in his start. So keep your eye on that. Shota Imanaga has been phenomenal. How about Bryce Wilson? Wilson, pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. How have the Brew Crew performed when Wilson takes the mound? They're 3-3 straight up, 2-4 on the run line, but under bettors are going to love to see this matchup of Shota Imanaga and Wilson. The under is 6-0, 6-0 when Bryce Wilson pitches for the Brewers. Under is 6-0. He's holding opponents, or at least in his starts, opponents are averaging 2 runs. Based on the starting pitcher, we are going to ride this trend. Now, the market is actually favoring the under 7.5 a little bit more than even I expected it to be. So that's a great sign. It opened at 7.5, went up to 8, came down back to 7.5. I will buy this up at under 8.5. Under 8.5 is minus 146. I love it there. It's minus 150 on DraftKings, minus 150 on ESPN Bet, and minus 150 on BetMGM. To just raise it an extra run, I don't think this game gets to 7.5. But just to be safe, I'll raise it a run. I think that's a really great spot to take it. We'll add this one to the big board right now. That is Cubbies. That is Brewers. And that is under 8.5 runs. Really like that play based on the starting pitching matchup. Now, we may rip it off the board if we see something through the rest of the trends because we haven't found a money line or a run line play just yet. But for the moment, we're kind of going off the hypothesis that we like the under and we like the Cubs on the money line. The way you guys should think about my research, and you should think about sports betting research on your own, think about like the scientific method, or the scientific method. Forgive me, I'm going to be a super nerd right now. You come up with a hypothesis, you test that hypothesis against research, data, you then come up with a conclusion which generates a new hypothesis. So we went into the game, we looked at the market suggested the Cubs were a good money line play. That creates the hypothesis, we then go through our data. What's the pitching matchup? What's the day, or what time of day is the game happening? Where's the location? Who's the favorite? Who's the dog? How have the teams performed against righty-lefty splits? Once we perform that bit of experimentation, we come up with a new conclusion, like under 8.5 for Brewers and Cubs. So for some of you guys out there, you're like, how does Butt Fumble Sports go about it? That's actually a good way of thinking about it. That said, definitely a super nerd about this. Is the May Picks competition still on? Yes, it is. I haven't been promoting it. I really should be. I'll probably do competitions now that are only a week long because it's hard to keep track. But what I will say is the competition for May is still on. The problem is most people are out of the competition because, once you reach a certain point in the month, they stop getting enough wins. But the competition's still on, so keep sending us your picks every single day. Let's get back to doing our research for this Cubs game. The Cubs game is a night game. Important to note, Cubs game is a night game. Cubs coming off a win so far this year against a division opponent when they're coming off a win. They're 1-3 straight up, 1-3 on the run line. That's a small sample size against the Brewers and the Pirates. Their one win did come against the Brewers. Not going to take too much from that. When they're coming off a win and then they play a night game the following day, Cubs are 5-8 straight up, 5-8 on the run line. The over is 9-4. Bad note for Cub bettors, actually. The Cubs have lost their last 5 straight games after a win when they play a night game the following day. Kind of interesting there. Cubs are facing a right-handed starter. So far this season, against right-handed starting pitchers, the Cubs have gone 24-20 overall, 23-21 on the run line. The under's been better at 25-18-1. What happens when they face a right-handed starting pitcher on the road? 12-11 straight up, 15-8 on the run line. The under's been better at 13-10. How about as an away favorite? Away favorite against a right-handed starting pitcher. It's only happened 6 times. 3-3 straight up, 2-4 on the run line. Over-under's been slightly better towards the over at 4-2. So just some interesting notes. Seeing if we can find anything in this bit of research. We're not quite there yet. Let's flip it over. How have the Brewers done under some of these circumstances? First of all, how have the Brewers done after a loss? Regardless of everything else, Brewers are 13-9 straight up after a loss. 10-12 on the run line, 11-11 on the over-under. One important note of late, over their last 6 games following a loss, the Brewers are 5-1 straight up coming off a loss, so they've been very good over the past week and a half coming off a loss. The under has also been much better over that same span of time. Over that same 6-game span, these are the last 6 games they've played following a loss. The under is 5-1, so they're 5-1, and the under is 5-1. So just kind of interesting to note how they've responded. By the way, the average score for the Brewers in the game after they lose is 4-3. That is exactly what I would like. The only difference is here, the Brewers are getting the 4, the opponent's getting the 3. How about when they're at home? Brewers at home after a loss. So far this year, 7-5 straight up, 4-8 on the run line. Over's been better at 8-4. Again, over the last 5 games, the Brewers are 4-1 after a loss when they play the next game at home. How about as a home dog after a loss? So far this year, as a home dog after a loss, they are 1-2 straight up, 1-2 on the run line. Bad news for our underplay. The over is 3-0. I still like the under, so I'm not going to get too nervous about that, but definitely something that stands out. The over is 3-0. Now, that said, it's hit 8 runs the last time out, but kind of a bad note for our underplay, just putting it out there. Really quick, how have the Brewers been as a home dog, regardless of how they played in the previous game? 3-2 straight up, 3-2 on the run line. Over-under is 4-1 to the over. And finally, Cubs, when they're an away favorite, how have they done so far this year? 4-4 straight up, 2-6 on the run line. 4-3-1 favoring the over. So the 2 times... It's a tough one. If I had to go in any direction, I'm kind of split like I was in the earlier game. I kind of feel like Cubs money line Brewers to cover the run line is the right play, but I don't have enough confidence in this one. I love Shota Imanaga on the mound. Shota Imanaga being 8-1 so far this season really stands out. On the road so far this season, Cubs are 3-1 in his starts on the road. They did lose his last start on the road, which was against the Braves, but the most runs that he's allowed in any road game so far this year is just 2. I think I do like the Cubs to win. I don't know if I have enough confidence in it to put it up on the board. I lean towards it, but I feel like this is a very tight game. Cubs, Brewers, if you told me that this one was 4-3 or 3-2, just like the Pirates and Tigers, I believe you. Not going to put it up on the board. I do like the under. That's what stands out in this one. That's what really, that's the play I would make ultimately. Appreciate you guys watching the show. Hope you guys are enjoying the content and the conversation. If you are, make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time we go live. Some folks are asking about strikeouts for Imanaga. Really quick, Brewers, when they face a left-handed starting pitcher at home so far this year, the Milwaukee Brewers are actually one of the better teams when it comes to not striking out against left-handed pitching. Against a left-handed starting pitcher at home, Brewers have struck out just 46 times this year. That's 24th in the league. That is one of the better teams at avoiding strikeouts. So keep your eye. I think I'd avoid Shota Imanaga on strikeouts. Really quick, I'll pull it up so you guys can see it because some folks are asking about it. That's Shota Imanaga. We'll get to player prop bets in a second too. Some folks are asking about the over. Now, the over's hit in 5 straight games. The over's hit in 5 straight games on the road. It's hit in 3 of his last 4 games on the road. Over the course of 24, it's hit again in 5 straight games. Those games came against the Pirates, Braves, Padres, Mets, and Red Sox. Really quick, jumping on over. Red Sox are one of the worst teams when it comes to facing a left-handed starting pitcher at home. So that's one thing to kind of take away from that. So that kind of nullifies the Red Sox one. How about the Mets? Mets are one of the worst teams under that scenario. How about the Padres? Padres are a top 13 team when it comes to that. How about the Braves? Braves are a better team at avoiding strikeouts, so Imanaga got the better of them. And the Pirates, we talked about that with Skubal. Pirates are middle of the league. So what I would say is, even though Shota Imanaga's had a nice streak of over 6.5 strikeouts, Brewers are a better team against left-handed pitching, especially at home when it comes to strikeouts. I wouldn't take this one. It might even be a decent opportunity to take the under. Shota Imanaga, when it comes to under 6.5 strikeouts, is actually plus money. I see plus 101 on underdog. DraftKings is minus 105, but I think Shota Imanaga might come up a strikeout short of this one. I could see him getting to 6, but not necessarily the 7 that we would need to hit the over. Let's jump on over to some player prop bets around this game as well. Know you guys care about those. We did very well on our hitter player prop bets yesterday. We're going to follow the same formula that we had yesterday, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's a good way of approaching these things. How does a hitter perform against the starting pitcher? How do they perform against the righty-lefty split that they have in front of them? Ian Happ has made 12 at-bats. Ian Happ's had 12 at-bats against Bryce Wilson in his career. He's hitting .417 against right-handed pitching this year, hitting .216, so unfortunately doesn't necessarily meet our criteria. But Ian Happ is a hitter I would have my eye on today. Would not be surprised if he performs well. No Milwaukee hitters have faced Imanaga so far in their career, but William Contreras is hitting .326 against left-handed pitching. If I had to put a hitter on the board for this game, William Contreras over half a hit at -200 against left-handed pitching. He's gotten a hit in 4 of his last 5 games, specifically at home against left-handed pitching. He has a hit in 9 of his last 10 games, 16 of his last 20. I will put him on the big board, actually. William Contreras over half a hit. I know Imanaga has been fantastic this year, but I love the opportunity to take William Contreras over half a hit. Just been a very consistent play so far. Head-to-head against the Cubs, at home against the left-handed pitcher, 5 games in a row. 5 straight games he's gotten a hit. No reason for me to doubt it. William Contreras over half a hit does make the big board. Joe Warren is asking about Paul Goldschmidt over half a hit. Let's take a look at Paul Goldschmidt over half a hit. We liked him a couple days ago, and he hit a home run, so certainly making us feel good about backing Paul Goldschmidt. One thing I would definitely say is he has come on really strong of late. He struggled early in the year, but he has found it. And when you find a hitter who's got in the middle of a hot streak, it's not a bad idea to just ride it out until it kind of cools off again. Paul Goldschmidt, over half a hit, is available. He's going up against Frankie Montas in his career, 1-for-3 lifetime. Does have an RBI against right-handed pitching this year, hitting just .221, so doesn't meet our criteria based on that. He does have a hit in 9 of his last 10 games overall against right-handed pitching, hit in 9 of his last 10 games. On the road against a righty, has a hit in 8 of his last 10 games. Love seeing that. In his last 20 games against a right-handed starting pitcher on the road, he has a hit in 13 of his last 20 games. Love it. Head-to-head against the Reds, against a right-handed starting pitcher in Cincinnati. Failed to get a hit in his last game under this scenario, but had a hit over the previous 2. All of those 3 games, though, were in 2023. If we only look at this in a more recent vacuum, he does have a hit in back-to-back games in this series. I like Paul Goldschmidt over half a hit. I'm not putting it up on the big board, but I do think it is a good play to go with. So, Joe, I would endorse it. I think it's okay. Appreciate you guys watching the show. Get your questions in. We're here to help you out. Jorge's asking about J.D. Martinez. Let's take a quick look at J.D. Martinez, seeing if he's a good bet. He's been raking as well so far this year. He was someone I was surprised was available in free agency as long as he was. I thought maybe someone would pick him up sooner. Mets, Dodgers. There's J.D. Martinez. And we're going to look for over half a hit. Against the starting pitcher, James Paxton. J.D. Martinez, great find by Jorge. Everyone, give it up for Jorge. Jorge, great job, buddy. Great job doing your research. 16 career at-bats against James Paxton. J.D. Martinez is hitting .438. 16 at-bats, hitting .438. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. That is what we call ownership. He's not the only Met, by the way, who owns James Paxton. Jeff McNeil is hitting .571 in 7 at-bats against him. Phenomenal numbers as well, but J.D. Martinez, he's not just hitting well against James Paxton, he's hitting well against left-handed pitching, hitting .391. Guys, 100% J.D. Martinez is a must-get. Jorge, great find by you. J.D. Martinez, put him on the board. J.D. Martinez, over half a hit. Great find. Great find by Jorge. Love the take. That is absolutely a player we want to ride with today. Vana, let's be a bit more specific. Philly player prop bets, let's be a bit more specific. If you're looking for an individual player, I will give out a player for the Phillies that I do like to get a hit since you do bring it up. But just to kind of keep us a little bit tight, when you ask a question, if you could keep it to a certain player, it would be wonderful. I will give out a player for this game that I absolutely love to get a hit. Against Kyle Harrison in his career, Kyle Schwarber has just one at-bat. He's 1 for 1, small sample size, 1 hit and 1 at-bat. However, Kyle Schwarber has actually had a reverse split this year. He's hitting left-handed pitching very well. Struggling against right-handed pitching, hitting left-handed pitching very well. Against left-handed pitching this year, Kyle Schwarber is hitting .337 in 83 at-bats, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs. Kyle Schwarber, over half a hit, is available at a very good spot. Against left-handed pitching, he has a hit in 8 of his last 10 games. Anywhere on the road, 8 of his last 10 games as well. Kyle Schwarber, over half a hit. Putting that one up on the board for sure. Really love that one. Kyle Schwarber, over half a hit. Want to also make sure I don't miss out on that William Contreras. We brought him up earlier. We're going to put William Contreras over half a hit. If you guys are watching my screen, you can see I actually can add my picks like a shopping cart on Outlier. Outlier is not a sports book, but it's connected to sports books. The sports books that it connects to are FanDuel, DraftKings, ESPN Bet, Caesars, BetMGM, Prize Picks, and Underdog. So when I see a bet that I like, I can literally just click on it, puts it into the shopping cart, and when I want to go make my bets, it can automatically generate them over in the sports book so I don't have to recreate them, do all that obscene, obsessive, obnoxious work. So if you guys want to check out Outlier, it does require a subscription, but they sponsor our show, so you guys can get a free 7-day trial for Outlier. All you got to do is DM me on Instagram. I don't think there is a better sports betting research tool available on the market. I love Outlier. I liked it even before they started sponsoring the show. I've always been a fan of it. Outlier, I think, is worth the return on the investment, the subscription. If you're doing sports betting, it returns enough good data for you to want to get it on its own. So if you want a free 7-day trial for it, see if it's worth your while, DM me on Instagram. More than happy to give you guys that link and get you guys the free 7-day trial. So Kyle Schwarber, over half a hit, is the next player we just put up on the big board. Shane G is asking a different kind of question, asking about the football season coming up. Love talking some football, so let's answer Shane G's question. Thoughts on the Packers' upcoming season, improve or fall off? All signs are pointing up for the Green Bay Packers. They've found their quarterback of the future. They've put phenomenal pieces around him at the wide receiving core, but additionally, swapping out Aaron Jones for now Josh Jacobs is an upgrade. There was a part of me that wished they could have had the two as a tandem and thought that would have been phenomenal, but frankly, wouldn't have made sense economically. It's certainly an upgrade, though. Josh Jacobs is younger. I think he's a little bit more talented at this point in their careers separately. And by the way, the Packers, for all the jokes we've made about not drafting wide receivers in the first round year after year after year, where did they devote so much of that draft capital? Towards the defensive side of the ball. I think the Packers are a team to watch out for in the NFC. If you told me the Packers made the NFC Championship game this year, I wouldn't be shocked. I don't think they should be a favorite for that. I wouldn't necessarily bet on it. But do I think they're a top 5 team in the NFC? Absolutely. Do I think they're a top 4 team? I think they can be. I think it really comes down to 1, injuries, and 2, does Jordan Love regress a little bit this year? I think he could at times, but I also think he's going to take steps forward as he just grows more confidence, especially against certain opponents. So I actually think the Packers are in a phenomenal place. I think the Packers are a team that could easily challenge the Lions for that division. I think we're assuming the Lions win the division back-to-back years. I'm not as quick to make that assumption unless the schedule tells us something different. Josh, are the Texans the biggest threat to Kansas City going back to the Super Bowl? I'm going to say no, and the reason I say no is I don't think the Texans' defense is good enough, and I don't think C.J. Stroud has proven himself in clutch moments enough. I'm going to say a bizarre one for you. I don't think it's actually bizarre, but I know it's a little bit of a clickbaity to say it. I think the biggest threat in the AFC to the Kansas City Chiefs are the New York Jets. Why do I say the New York Jets? Because the Jets have a phenomenal defense. They have the kind of defense that actually can shut down Patrick Mahomes. Most people wouldn't necessarily think of it that way, but they have a shutdown number one, maybe the best cornerback in football in Sauce Gardner. They have a defensive line that can apply pressure without blitzing. They're good in coverage. They don't have to blitz, and they have an offense that has an experienced quarterback who can win in the clutch, who has a number of weapons, who has a good running game, and an improved offensive line. I think the Jets are actually the number one threat right now to the Kansas City Chiefs. If these two teams are fully healthy and meet in the playoffs, I actually think this is a coin flip of a game because I don't think Kansas City's defense is good enough compared to where they were a year ago. I think the loss of Snead is going to make a big impact. And I think the Jets defense is a top 5 defense in the NFL. It's just a question of can they stay healthy at the quarterback position. If they can, Bills got worse, Dolphins got worse. Jets should really win the AFC East. If they win the AFC East and they play Kansas City in the playoffs healthy, I think that's a battle. I know a number of people are going to say the Cincinnati Bengals might be the number one threat or the Houston Texans. I still think both of those teams have too many question marks on the defensive side of the ball. The reason I say the Jets, maybe more than anything besides quarterback play, is if you're going to beat Kansas City, you need an elite defense. Jets have an elite defense. 10 speed. We gave out our picks for that Pirates and Tigers game so far. Because you're asking for it, let's do a quick recap of the picks we've given out and putting up on the big board so far. Here are a recap of the picks. So far, we have Pirates and Tigers. All of the Pirates and Tigers picks I'm about to give out are for Game 1. We're actually not going to do any of our picks for Game 2 because usually I don't like to bet same day doubleheaders rather. Obviously, you have a leaning towards one if there's a heavy favorite, but Pirates and Tigers, I won't bet Game 2. Game 1, no run in the first inning. Pirates, Tigers, Game 1, no run in the first inning. I like in Game 1, Tigers on the money line, but in Game 1, I like Pirates plus 1.5. So Game 1, no run in the first inning for Pirates and Tigers. Game 1, I like Tigers on the money line, and Game 1, I like Pirates plus 1.5. We also have Cubs, Brewers, under 8.5 runs. We have Marlins and Padres, no run in the first inning. No run in the first inning for Marlins and Padres. And we have 4 player prop bets on the board so far. Cabrian Hayes over half a hit in Game 1. Cabrian Hayes over half a hit in Game 1. We have William Contreras over half a hit. JD Martinez over half a hit. And Kyle Schwarber over half a hit. Those are the picks we have on the big board so far. Over on Instagram Live, Brian T. So you think they can win the division over the Lions? Do I think the Packers can? I actually do. Now, would I bet that? No, I'd probably bet the Lions. I think the Lions are still good enough and better than the Packers. But my greater point is, do I think that division will be decided in the final 2 weeks of the season? I think it will. I think the Packers are going to go toe-to-toe with the Lions throughout the entire year. If I had to make a prediction right now, I'd take Lions to win the division. Packers win the wild card. But if you told me those two were reversed, I'd believe you. I think the Bears are going to be improved. I think the Vikings could actually be even better. But that said, I think that division will be between the Lions and the Lions and the Packers. Flat 88. Here's a quick recap of the picks one more time. By the way, if you miss any of our picks, we give our picks away for free. Just DM me on Instagram. You'll get all of the picks for free. They're never behind a paywall. I never charge for them. So just DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram. You get every pick if you miss any of them. Okay, Flat? Here's a quick recap. Game 1, Pirates and Tigers. No run in the first inning. Game 1, Tigers on the money line. Game 1, Pirates plus 1.5. Cubs and Brewers under 8.5 runs. Marlins and Padres, no run in the first inning. Cabrian Hayes, over half a hit in Game 1. William Contreras, over half a hit. JD Martinez, over half a hit. And Kyle Schwarber, over half a hit. Who do I like in the Phillies and Giants game? Let's go take a look at that game, everybody. Let's take a look at Phillies and Giants. Phillies are the money favorite right now. The market's favoring them. 70% of the tickets are on the Phillies to win. 88% of the money is on the Phillies to win. John, ask for someone's notes, okay? We just went through it like 3 times. Phillies, 80% of the tickets. Can someone let John know? Because we just literally repeated it multiple times. Phillies, 80% of the tickets are on the Phillies to cover -1.5. 95% of the money is on the Phillies to cover -1.5. So the Phillies are getting a lot of love today from the marketplace. Let's see if that's deserved. Phillies, after a win in the previous day's game, is not the case today. Phillies are on a bit of a losing streak, actually. Phillies, I believe, have lost their last 3 games in a row. If I'm not mistaken, that's the first time that's happened so far this year. Phillies are absolutely due for a win. They haven't had 4 losses all season long. Have the Giants had 4 wins? Let's see how the Giants have done off of back-to-back wins when they're at home so far this year. So when the Giants have back-to-back wins and they play at home, Giants are 2-3 straight up, 2-3 on the run line. The over is 4-1 under that scenario. How about when the Giants are a home dog so far this year? 4-3 straight up, 4-3 on the run line, 4-3 favoring the over. How about the Giants against the left-handed starter? Giants against the left-handed starting pitcher. 5-9 straight up, 5-9 on the run line. How about when they face a left-handed pitcher at home? Giants are 4-4 straight up against the left-handed starting pitcher at home. 4-4 on the run line, the under 5-3. I'm not seeing anything right now to get me excited about this game in terms of a trend. Let's keep working on it. How about when the Phillies are an away favorite so far this year? 13-8 straight up, 11-10 though on the run line. Under's been better at 13-7-1. Under has hit in 4 of the last 5 games the Phillies have played on the road as a favorite. When they're coming off a loss as an away favorite when they're an away favorite and they're coming off a loss in the previous day's game, they're 7-1. The only loss they suffered was in yesterday's game. They lost 1-0 in that game yesterday. They're 6-2 on the run line under this scenario. I hate to repeat myself, but that's the trend that we rode yesterday. It failed us. But again, it's been such a solid trend. Really quick, Phillies on the road, last game of a series. So far this year, Phillies are 5-3 straight up. Last game of a series on the road. Under's been better at 6-2. The things that are kind of standing out to me so far are Phillies money line and the under. Right now on ballparkpal.com, according to their run projections, this game is going to be a 4-4 kind of score, so very tight. I don't have as much confidence in the Phillies as I really want to. Let's look at the 2 starting pitchers. Christopher Sanchez on the mound for the Phillies. So far in his starts, Phillies are 4-6. Here's a bad note for Philly bettors. When Christopher Sanchez has pitched this year, the Phillies are 1-9 on the run line. You heard that correct. Phillies are 1-9 on the run line when Christopher Sanchez is the starting pitcher. They are 1-4 straight up, 0-5 on the run line. Wow, 0-5 on the run line when Christopher Sanchez is the starting pitcher. How about when Kyle Harrison is the starting pitcher for the Giants? Giants are 9-2 in his starts. Giants have won their last 8 starts have won their last 8 games when Kyle Harrison starts. They've covered the spread in 8 of his last 11 games overall. I got to go Giants plus 1.5. Not where I was going to come out on this one, but right now, the starting pitching matchup is suggesting that the play is Giants plus 1.5. I'm going to put it up on the board, everybody. Do I love it? I'm on the fence a little bit, but Giants plus 1.5 is what I'm coming down on. The reason I'm kind of struggling with it is because the money is favoring the Phillies to cover that run line. If the market was set even, tickets and money, I'd feel really good about this. But the money's outpacing it a little bit. Makes me a little bit nervous. I understand why. Right now, here's the question. Can I get Giants plus 2? Giants plus 2 is minus 215. This is what I'm going to do. I'll take Giants plus 2, and I'll just say put it as a leg of a parlay. So I'm going to cop out a little bit here. Look, Kyle Harrison on the mound for the Giants and Christopher Sanchez on the mound for the Phillies suggests the Giants are going to cover the run line. I'm going to be a bit of a scaredy cat. I'll take Giants +2. I'll put them into some parlays because I feel like the Phillies win, but frankly, I don't have enough confidence in it. So I think +2 is a good return on the investment. Flat 88, I agree with you. Giants +2 is only -215, -216. Put that into a parlay, a 2-leg parlay with something else that you feel really good about. Again, take a high confidence level bet, pair it with something like this. I feel like it's a good play. Roy, you're going to have to get notes from other folks. We've covered that game. We've recapped it. We'll give out that pick again in a little bit. But to be honest, I'm not going to repeat myself over and over. It was the first game we covered. If you guys want to see my big board, it's live on YouTube. If you jump on over to YouTube, if you're watching on Instagram Live or TikTok Live right now, and you want to see the research I do on my screen right in front of you, if you want to see every bet that I'm making live right in front of you, jump on over to YouTube. You'll never miss anything. It's the best way of going about it. Really quick, let's go look at another question over on YouTube. Ricky, what do you think of Guardians Rockies over 10.5? So Rockies and Guardians. Let's take a look at that one right now. Rockies and Guardians. Total for that game is set at 10.5. Right now, 59% of the tickets are on the over. 62% of the money is on the over. According to ballparkpal.com, they're expecting about a 6-5 finish. That would suggest the over is a good play. Let's dive into this one a little bit. When the Guardians are coming off a win in their previous game, and they're a road favorite, Guardians are 6-3 straight up. The over is slightly better at 5-4. How about the Rockies? Rockies, when they are coming off a loss and they're at home. They're at home. Rockies off a loss at home, 8-6 straight up, 9-5 on the run line, 6-8 favoring the under. When the Rockies are facing a left-handed starting pitcher at home so far this year, Rockies are 3-3 straight up, 3-3 on the run line. The over is 2-4, so unders had the better of it. Really quick, I'm kind of curious about just what this trend has been. So far this season, when the total has been greater than 10 and the team has been a home dog, how have things gone? Straight up, the home team is 8-10 straight up. 10-8 on the run line. Over under is split at 10-8, favoring the under just slightly. Home dogs, when the total's been over 10 runs, have performed a little bit better of late. 5-2 in the last 7 games. Not surprising, all but one of those featured the Rockies. Continuing to look for some trends on this one, let's take a look at Logan Allen. Logan Allen on the mound for the Guardians today. So far this season, when Logan Allen takes the mound, over bettors are going to love this. The over is 9-2 so far this season when Logan Allen pitches for the Guardians. 9-2 favoring the over. How about Ty Blatch? Ty Blatch is the starting pitcher for the Rockies today. When Ty Blatch pitches, the under is 3-1. Wish that was a little bit better. He's made 3 starts at home. Funny enough, all 3 of those starts, the under is hit. So when Ty Blatch, starting pitcher of the Rockies, has pitched so far this year at home, the under is 3-0. That's unfortunate. When Logan Allen has pitched on the road so far this season, the over is 4-2. Both games that have hit the under actually came when he pitched on the road, Logan Allen. I wish I could like this a little bit more, but I don't. If I actually went in any direction on this game, I actually might favor the under a little bit. I can't believe I'm saying it, but frankly, I like over. Here's how I would put it. To the question that was asked specifically to Ricky, this is how I'd bet this. I would bet over 9. I'd bet under 12. Over 9 is available at -242. Under 12 is available at -155. I think under 12.5 is probably the bet I'd put in. Under 12.5 for Rockies and Guardians, that would be the play for me. The over is hit in 9 of the Rockies' last 13 games as an underdog. I acknowledge that. We just looked at that. A couple of player prop bets I do want to focus on for this game, though. Jose Ramirez is scorching hot. If you took Jose Ramirez over 1.5 bases, I love it. Love it. That said, we like Jose Ramirez. We like him to get over 1.5 bases. Feel good about that play. By the way, if any of you guys don't like the odds or don't like the bet, then don't watch the show. Like, it's totally cool. You guys don't have to follow every bet I make. By the way, yeah, do we give out minus 255 plays? Yes, we do. We follow trends, data, and research. If you guys only want even bets, plus money bets, or bets that are minus 200 or better, that's fine. You can go elsewhere. Like, we do our research trying to find bets that are going to hit. So if any of you guys don't like the odds or the return on the bet, it's totally fine. I totally get it. Some of you may think it's puss. Some of you may think it's weak. Some of you guys may not want to bet it. I totally understand. It's totally cool. I'm totally fine with it. Doesn't hurt my feelings. That said, what are we trying to do? We're trying to find bets that hit every day. So if we can, we're going to try to find bets that hit. You guys can put them together in parlays. You can do if you want. That's up to you. You can follow. You can fade my bets. But if you guys don't like what we're doing, then why watch the show? Like, I have to admit, like, I don't have a problem with haters. I have a problem with bitchers. Like, if you want to be a bitch, like, that's fine. Like, watch something else. Like, scroll up. Change the channel. I never understand that. If you want to hate, that's totally fine. I love haters. But if you just want to bitch for the sake of bitching, like, what the hell? Don't, like, never understand that. Never understand that. Anyways, going back to some bets that we like. Jose Ramirez, over 1.5 bases we like. Another bet that I really like today is Ryan McMahon, over half a hit. If I go to this Guardians and Rockies game, Ryan McMahon, over half a hit, is available. I think this is a phenomenal play. Absolutely adding this to the big board. Ryan McMahon is stroking it against left-handed pitching. No, that sounds weird, but that is the case. So over half a hit for Ryan McMahon. That's another one we're going with. Appreciate all those that support the show. Forgive me for being a little feisty under the collar. Sometimes, though, I see a comment, and it's like right after I've been doing research for, you know, like the last hour, and instead of getting love, I'm getting someone like, that's a minus 255 bet. And it's like, great, bro. Great. I totally get it. Mr. RBI, you're probably right. I'm overreacting a little bit. Anyways, let's go back to our research. I hope you guys don't take it too seriously. Just having some fun with you guys. Anyways, if you guys do have a question, more than happy to help you out, so feel free to fire away with those questions. Someone asking me right now was about Fry. Do I like Fry to go over half a hit? Or over 1.5 bases, rather? He is crushing it against left-handed pitching. If we jump on over to that game, David Fry, you're not going to get him on hits, but over 1.5 bases. That's been against left-handed pitching a really good trend. 6 of his last 8 games. 6 of his last 7 games, rather. 6 of his last 9, I should say. 6 of his last 9. On the road against left-handed pitching. 4 of his last 7. Not as good. I wouldn't take that one. Not big on it. G-Bucks, I love Bobby Witt today. Love Bobby Witt over half a hit. If you can get Bobby Witt Jr. over half a hit today, I didn't think that was available. It is if you do like a same game parlay. I actually did a same game parlay involving Bobby Witt Jr. If you can get it, absolutely take it. Where are the Royals? There they are. Bobby Witt Jr. absolutely rakes against this starting pitcher. So if you can get him over half a hit, I don't think that's available where I saw it, but if you can, yeah, it's 1.5 where on most sports books, but against the starting pitcher, against Bailey Ober, Bobby Witt has 13 career at-bats. He's hitting .538 lifetime in 13 at-bats against Bailey Ober. That includes a home run, includes 4 RBIs. Absolutely love that one. So keep your eye on Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs isn't available except on Prize Picks. Wish it were. How about total bases? over 1.5 total bases actually might be the best play. He's hit this in 7 of his last 10 games overall against right-handed pitching, 6 of his last 10, really 6 of his last 9. On the road against right-handed pitching, not as good, but against the Twins on the road, he's hit it in 3 of his last 5 games. Overall against the Twins, he's hit it in 6 of his last 8 games against the Twins. He's gone over this. Bobby Witt Jr. over 1.5 bases, I think I would do. I think I'd go Bobby Witt Jr. over 1.5 bases. That's probably what I'd come down with. Over half a run, don't like it as much. Over 1.5 bases, that's the one I like. Bobby Witt Jr. over 1.5 bases. Keep your eye on it. Someone's asking about Ellie De La Cruz player props. Let's take a look at Ellie De La Cruz. Do we like him for today's action? Over half a hit. He has just 4 hits. He has a hit in just 4 of his last 10 games against right-handed pitching. He only has a hit in 3 of his last 5 games overall. 3 of his last 6, actually. Even worse than that. Against the starting pitcher in his career, 0 for 2 lifetime against this starting pitcher, hitting .250 on the season against right-handed pitchers, against right-handed pitching at home. He has a hit in 5 of his last 10 games, 3 of his last 6 games. Head-to-head against the Cardinals at home, he does have a hit in 5 of his last 7 against a right-handed starter. I'm on the fence about it. If I had to go anywhere, Ellie De La Cruz, maybe I take over half a hit, but I'm not crazy about it, to be honest with you. Just doesn't feel like as good a play as I would normally like. He's really cooled off. Over half a stolen base. He doesn't have a stolen base against the Cardinals since last June, so certainly not going to play that one. He only has 1 stolen base in his last 10 games, so Ellie De La Cruz just not nearly as good a play across the board as he had been earlier in the year. I think I'd wait for him to heat up. Ellie De La Cruz, very streaky hitter. When he's hot, he is someone you can take in multiple categories every day, but when he's not about it. John Maxwell, I think I'd take Bobby Witt Jr. over 1.5 bases, over half a hit, 1.5 hits rather, because I think he's got a chance. His 1 hit could be an extra base hit, but if he gets 2 hits, he's going to get the over 1.5 bases anyways. So John, I think it's safer to play the over 1.5 bases. I don't like the over 1.5 hits nearly as much. The Mayor, Paul Skeens, under 7.5 strikeouts. I actually think that's a good play. It's really because the matchup, the Detroit Tigers at home against a right-handed starting pitcher. The Detroit Tigers at home against a right-handed starting pitcher. They have the 6th, 7th most strikeouts. Paul Skeens just hasn't been recording as many. It's close. The Mayor, I'm not going to put it up on the board. I'm leaning the under too. The problem is now that I look at it, Tigers have actually been better against left-handed pitching at home than right-handed pitching against right-handed pitching. They have the 7th most strikeouts in Major League Baseball. Don't like seeing that. If you guys want every bet that I make every day for free, DM me on Instagram, ButtFumble Sports. DM me on Instagram. I give away every pick that I make every single day for free. So regardless of the sport, regardless of the type of bet, regardless of the odds, make sure you guys DM me on Instagram. That way you can get access to every bet that I make every single day. There isn't a single day where I don't share my picks with you because I think it's important that you guys see my picks and never have to pay for them. They're never behind a paywall. So if all you guys want are my picks, just DM me on Instagram. You'll get every bet I make every day. Really quick, let's talk Red Sox and Orioles. Right now, the market is favoring the Orioles. 82% of the tickets are on the O's. 87% of the money is on the Orioles to win. Market's also favoring the Orioles on the run line. 90% of the tickets on the Orioles to cover -1.5. 98% of the money is favoring the Orioles. Red Sox coming off a win yesterday. How have the Red Sox performed after a win when they are on the road? After a win on the road, 9-6 straight up, 9-6 on the run line. The under's been slightly better. How about when they're an underdog on the road after a win? Red Sox under that scenario, 5-5 straight up, 7-3 on the run line. The under's been better at 7-3. How about when the Red Sox are after a win on the road, last game of a series. 2-1 straight up, 2-1 on the run line, the over favored at 2-1. How about when they're just a road dog, last game of a series, regardless of how they did in the previous game? 4-2 straight up, 4-2 on the run line, 3-3 over on the over-under. How about the Orioles? Orioles, after a loss, when they are a home favorite the day following a loss, Orioles are 8-2 straight up. Only losses they have this year under that scenario were to the Brewers and to the Blue Jays when they are coming off a loss as a home favorite, and it's the last game of a series. The Orioles are 5-0. Let me repeat that. The Orioles, after a loss, when they play the next game at home as a favorite, and it's the last game of a series, they are 5-0. How are they when their last game of a series at home, regardless of being a favorite and regardless of a performance in a previous game? 6-1, 6-3 straight up. So actually, the big difference in this one is when they are coming off a loss. Last game of a series at home, the Orioles win. Orioles are a good play. How about Cutter Crawford? Cutter Crawford's put up phenomenal stats so far this year for the Red Sox, but can we rely on him to perform well today? In his season so far, Cutter Crawford has actually lost. The Red Sox are 3-8 straight up when he pitches, 4-7 on the run line. The unders performed well at 7-4. Red Sox have actually lost the last 4 starts that Cutter Crawford has made so far this year. When Cutter Crawford has pitched on the road this season, the Red Sox are 2-3 straight up, 3-2 on the run line. Over-under favors the under at 3-2. How about Corbin Burnes? Corbin Burnes on the mound for the Baltimore Orioles. He's made 11 starts this year. Orioles are 7-4 in his starts when Corbin Burnes pitches at home. So far this season, Orioles are 4-3. So actually, he's been better on the road than he has been at home so far this year. Slightly better. I do have another stat I wanted to pull out for you guys, though. Cutter Crawford, in his career against the Baltimore Orioles, so not just today, but in his career against the Baltimore Orioles, Cutter Crawford has made 3 starts in his career against the Orioles. He's 0-3 straight up. He's 0-3 on the run line. Not a big sample size, but you combine that with he hasn't won a lot of starts this year overall, and the fact that the Orioles are 5-0, last game of a series at home after a loss. I'm going to take the Orioles on the money line, or everybody. Orioles on the money line makes my big board. That's the next pick we're putting up there. If we're looking for a player prop bet from this game, really quick, a player that I'm interested in, keep your eye on Abreu. We talked about him yesterday. He hit a home run, hitting .302 against right-handed pitching. Connor Wong is another one. Connor Wong, 1-for-2 lifetime against Corbin Burnes. Small sample size, but he's hitting .303 against right-handed pitching. Keep your eye on Connor Wong. From the Orioles side of things, Anthony Santander. In his career, Anthony Santander is hitting .375 in 8 at-bats against Cutter Crawford. That includes a home run and 2 RBIs. He has struggled against right-handed pitching this year, but I do like that matchup for him. Keep your eye on Anthony Santander. If you told me he went yard today, would not shock me. Javier, what's the pick for Connor Wong? Over half a hit. Connor Wong over half a hit has my attention. That's the next play that I would recommend. Appreciate you guys watching the show. The over-under for this Red Sox game is set right now at 7.5. Not going to take the over, not going to take the under. Don't have a good leaning either way. I like the under, but I don't like it at the 7.5 mark. So you'd have to raise it up, lose some of the value. I think I like Orioles money line overall a lot more. Getting a lot of questions about the Dodgers and the Mets. So Dodgers and Mets is going to be the next game that we focus on. Dodgers-Mets is a 4-10 start. Dodgers are the favorite in this game. According to ballparkpal.com, Dodgers and Mets has actually got has the Mets favored a little bit. Mets are favored a little bit according to their simulations, so be aware of that. The Mets are actually getting love from ballparkpal.com. Dodgers, after a win in the previous day's game, when they're in the last game of a series, Dodgers so far this year, 5-8 straight up. Guys, we have a trend of trends. We have a mega trend to talk about. The Los Angeles Dodgers, when they won yesterday and they're playing the last game of the series today, are 2-11 against the run line. 2-11 is their run line record. That is ridiculous. I also want to note the under has hit in 2, 4, 6, 8 straight games in this scenario. 9 of their last 10 games in this scenario, the under is hit. So if we're going to make our hypothesis scientific method style, as we've been doing throughout the show, Mets plus 1.5, and the under is where we're going to kind of focus right now to start, and we're going to test out those theories. When the Dodgers, off a win, last game of a series, 2-11 on the run line, okay? How about the Mets? Mets, when they are last game of a series, let's say at home, last game of a series at home, Mets are 2-7 on the run line. They're 7-2 straight up, 2-7 on the run line. The under continues to be a good trend. Under is 7-2, so the under continues to get a little bit more credibility. I'd also say I actually do like the Mets to cover, even though the run line play isn't as strong. They haven't been an underdog at home last game of a series too often, only once. They did lose to the Phillies 4-0, but I'm not going to take too much from that. When the Mets are coming off a loss and then they play the last game of a series, the Mets so far this year are 11-4 straight up, 6-9 on the run line. Under's been a good play at 9-6. So again, Mets plus 1.5, and the under continues to be a strong play for this one. Let's dive into it a little bit more. Let's look at the starting pitchers. James Paxton is on the mound for the Dodgers. So far this season, when James Paxton toes the rubber for the Dodgers this year are 7-2 straight up, 7-2 on the run line. Over's been slightly better at 5-4. When James Paxton has pitched on the road, 4-1 straight up, 4-1 on the run line. They did lose his last start against the Reds. Too bad. Challenges our theories about Mets plus 1.5. How about David Peterson? David Peterson. So far this season, Mets are... Oh, this is his first start of the year. David Peterson's first start of the year. Let's take a look at how he performed in 2023. 7-14 straight up, 9-12 on the run line, 12-7-2, favoring the over when David Peterson pitched at home, 5-5 straight up, 5-5 on the run line. It's a tough one for me. The market is obviously favoring the Dodgers heavily to win. It's the James Paxton stats that have me worried. I think what I like most is the under. I would buy the under 9.5, under 10. So we'll put that up on the board. Dodgers, Mets, under 9.5, under 10 would be the parlay play. I'll take the under in that game. Under 9.5, under 10. I like the Mets plus 1.5 right now. I like the Mets plus 2 if you could get it for me. Mets plus 2 right now is minus 239. I think the Mets are going to cover. I would probably take the Dodgers after a win last game of a series on the road are 0-6 on the run line, 1-5. I'm taking Mets plus 1.5. I'm taking the risk. Mets plus 1.5, everybody. Do I feel great about it? I'm on the fence. But I'm going to take Mets plus 1.5 on this one. Dodgers, Mets under 9.5. Mets plus 1.5. Those both make my big board. We already talked earlier. Love J.D. Martinez. J.D. Martinez against James Paxton. Absolutely rakes against him. Also, keep your eye, obviously, on Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts. If you can get Mookie Betts over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, that's what I would take. Mookie Betts. Doubt he's going to be available, but let's just see. Mookie Betts. We're looking for over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. It is available against the left-handed pitcher. Hasn't been as good a trend, so maybe it's not. I think J.D. Martinez is probably the one we like most from this game. J.D. Martinez over half a hit. J.D. Martinez over half a hit. That's what we'll go with. That'll be the play from this game. Appreciate you guys being with us. We talked the first game of the doubleheader already. We're taking Pirates and Tigers. No run in the first inning. Tigers on the money line and Pirates plus 1.5 for that game one. Appreciate you guys watching the show. Hope you guys are loving the content, loving the conversation. Let's take a look at the Yankees game. We just covered the Mets. Let's talk some Yankees. Yankees coming off a late inning loss last night. 4-3 loss. Yankees heavily favored today. Not surprising. Luis Gil on the mound. They've been phenomenal in his starts. Let's take a look at it. Yankees coming off a loss on the road. Last game of a series. The scenario that they... Nope, not the last game of a series. Sorry. Last game... coming off a loss on the road so far this year. Yankees are 7-5 in that scenario when they're a road favorite. Coming off a loss on the road, 5-3 straight up, 3-5 on the run line. Over/under is split at 4-4. Let's take a look at it from the Angels side of things. Angels coming off a win when they are a home dog after a win. Angels are 0-3 straight up, 1-2 on the run line, 3-0 on the over. So the Angels coming off a win as a home dog have been abysmal, 0-3. Luis Gil, starting pitcher for the Yankees. They are 8-2 in his starts, 7-3 on the run line when Gil has pitched on the road so far this year. He is only 3-2, so both of the Yankees' losses this year came when he was on the road. Bad note there. How have the Yankees done against left-handed pitching so far this year? They're facing a left-handed starter. When the Yankees face a left-handed starter, regardless of location so far this season, the Yankees are 6-6 straight up, 6-6 on the run line. Specifically, when they are on the road against a left-handed starter, the Yankees are 2-2 straight up, 3-1 on the run line. Wish that was a little bit better. How about the Angels against a right-handed starter? Angels against a right-handed starter at home this year. Angels are 4-17. The Angels are 4-17 straight up against a right-handed starter at home. When that game is coming off a win in the previous game, wow, we have a trend for you guys. Put it on the board. Yankees on the money line, everybody. Yankees on the money line. Here is a favorite trend of the day. When the Los Angeles Angels face a right-handed starter at home after winning the previous day's game, they are 0-7 straight up. They are 1-6 on the run line. The over is 6-1 as well. I'm not going to bet the total on this game, but the fact the Angels are 0-7 under this scenario, love the Yankees, putting it up on the board. So Yankees on the money line. Next pick we're putting up on the board, everybody. Yankees on the money line. By the way, I'm sure you guys want to know a player prop bet that we like for that game. Anthony Volpe, over half a hit is available against left-handed pitching so far this year. He has a hit in 7 of his last 10 games against the left-handed starter, specifically on the road, 8 of his last 10 games against the left-handed starter. He doesn't have any at-bats against Tyler Anderson. Someone who does, though, Alex Verdugo. Actually, not too many Yankees have good numbers. Juan Soto, by the way, does not have good numbers against Tyler Anderson. I know he's hitting left-handed pitching very well this year, but doesn't have great numbers against this starter. So Anthony Volpe, over half a hit. I am going to put it up on the board. The dude has an over 20-game hitting streak, so I'm willing to challenge it today. If it fails, great. If he loses it, I'm okay. Anthony Volpe, over half a hit, though. Maybe you make that a parlay. Yankees on the money line. Anthony Volpe, over half a hit. That sounds like a good play. Jennifer, yes he is. Over 20 games, I believe. Dwayne, do I like the Rangers on the money line today? Rangers on the money line. Where are the Rangers? Rangers are playing the Diamondbacks. Really quick, I want to see this from a day game perspective. When the Diamondbacks have played a day game on the road this year, how have they performed? Diamondbacks are 5-4 straight up, 6-3 on the run line. Day games on the road so far this season. The Rangers, day game at home so far this season. Rangers are 2-5 straight up, 2-5 on the run line, and the under is 5-2. Diamondbacks start Ryan Nelson. Ryan Nelson on the mound for the Diamondbacks. 2-5 when he pitches. 3-4 on the run line. On the other side, Dane Dunning. Dane Dunning on the mound for the Rangers. So far this season, they're 5-3 when he starts. When Dane Dunning pitches at home. Rangers are 0-3 on the run line when Dane Dunning pitches. I'm going to take Diamondbacks to cover. I'm going to take Diamondbacks plus 1.5. Diamondbacks plus 1.5. That's going to be the pick that I go with. So that's the one that makes the big board. Here's a quick recap of all the picks we've given out so far during the show. For Game 1 of Pirates and Tigers, we have no run in the first inning. For Game 1, we have Tigers on the money line. And for Game 1, we have Pirates plus 1.5. Our other picks for today's action, Cubs, Brewers, under 8.5. Marlins and Padres, no run in the first inning. We have Giants plus 2. Orioles on the money line. Dodgers and Mets under 9.5 or under 10. Mets plus 1.5. Yankees on the money line. And the Diamondbacks plus 1.5. When it comes to player prop bets, for Game 1, we have Cabrian Hayes over half a hit. We have William Contreras over half a hit. J.D. Martinez over half a hit. Kyle Schwarber over half a hit. Ryan McMahon over half a hit. And Anthony Volpe over half a hit. Appreciate you guys watching the show. Make sure you guys hit the follow button. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time that we go live. I love talking sports with you guys every single day. We've been live for just about an hour and a half. I got to go run off and do some other things. Make sure you guys DM me on Instagram if you missed any of our picks. We give them away for free. Our picks are never behind a paywall. We never charge for them. They're always accessible. So DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I make every single day. Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram. You can find every bet that I make on the SHARPZ app. So make sure you follow. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time we go live. That way you never miss our show, our research, our takes. But Butt Fumble Sports on Instagram. It's the same handle on Instagram as it is on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I make every day for free, regardless of the odds, the type of bet. It's always available. Appreciate you guys watching the show. Hope you guys stay healthy. Hope you stay safe. Have a wonderful afternoon, everybody. Enjoy a lot of baseball today. No NBA on the schedule, so enjoy a full slate of MLB action. We'll be back live tomorrow afternoon. We'll actually be live tomorrow morning. We'll do another early show tomorrow at around 11:30. So if you want to watch us on Thursday, catch us early 11:30, because there's some day baseball. Until then, have a great Wednesday, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Goodbye, everybody.